good evening, good morning. I don't know. It's always darker in Sweden, so wherever you are. Hello. Today I'm gonna show you why Hylissang is the goat. I came across this tweet that where their coach Madpad or I mean Pad, sorry if I butcher your name, bro. But he said that the casters are quite biased towards Hylissang. They say that he's inting most of the time, and they don't really recognize how much space he's bringing. And I figured it'd be interesting to actually show why Hylissang is the goat. And yeah, because I think the casters are missing a lot of stuff, a lot of the good things that he does, and doesn't really see the value that he brings to the team. And I just want to go through this game because that's the game that Pad was actually talking about or referring to. And it was in this game. I was listening to the cast briefly, not really fully, but they were questioning a lot of Hylissang's decisions, saying he's super greedy, why, he's always fighting, la di da di da. You've heard it a million times. Hylissang is an inter, whatever. But I think Hylissang is a great fucking player and one of the best supports that we have ever had in the EU. And I think he's basically redefined the role of support. I think him, Mickey, I don't know who else is like a really good support, but for me it's just Mickey and Hilly that are kind of like leading the charge in terms of like how to actually play support. So I wanted to take a look at it. I think it mostly starts in mid game, but we can take a look at his like first death, right? He's gonna be, because the way Hylissang plays, he's a space maker, and a space maker is someone that always tries to contest space, giving more space to his AD carry. So let's say he's doing it already from lane. He's walking up to make sure that his AD carry can walk up and see us comfortably, and he's giving the opponent a choice. Hey, either you engage on me and you blow your spells on me and my AD carry cleans you up, or you let me get the space and take over the bush and push you guys further back and maybe you get prio. So Hylissang is very good at always contesting the enemy and making them permanently react to them. And whoever is reacting is always going to be the team with a disadvantage. So we can take a look at this. So here they saw Yike on bot side. Douglas is around, Douglas leaves, and then Yike, actually I don't know what he did, but he ran into top, and then he did a full switch around all the way to bot, completely unpredictable. I don't blame him for dying. Yike should be on his grump at this point, or top scuttle, or whatever. So they assumed that he would be gone, but this is kind of like a mind game, right? Like Yike knows that they know that he knows that they know that he should be topside, so he uses that information to look for a bot lane gank because it's unexpected. And you kind of have to like spice things up, the better players you play versus, and I think this is really nice by Yike. It's a completely unpredictable gank. It's 4:30, he finishes his full clear around like 3 minutes, 3:20, etc. And he's still around bot, so it's a very unpredictable. I think Douglas here, after seeing him, he could probably take the grump and then take the grubs, but he's gonna decide to just take the crab instead and then go for the grubbies. But out of base, Hylissang, he knows that Kalista needs to base right now and there's not gonna be any action around bot, and he can also give Karzi just some solo XP, and that's exactly what he's gonna do. But he realizes that the only lane that they should be looking to gank or play around is probably around this Orianna. Orianna is currently looking to bully the Ahri in the early levels, so he's just gonna look to match the roam from Mickey to make sure that he can't even be there. There's nothing impressive, most supports always open through mid, but this is just a small thing of like what Hylissang does. He always matches the support, make sure that the VTO can play as aggressive as it like. Mostly what I want to check is honestly the way he abuses tempo and how he's able to get deep vision just by the experience that he has and understanding of where everyone is on the map. Now Hylissang is an extremely smart player, and I think he's also very experienced. So he's able to understand exactly where the enemy team would be and where they should be, and he abuses this to every single inch that he can. So this is the first example I'm gonna show. So what happened was that they made a play on mid, Mickey X used his ulti, Yike used flash, Caps has no ulti, or no, yeah, he used it. And Caps used his ulti, whatever. So Hylissang knows now that the enemy team, this is the information that he's gonna have, right? So let's take a pause. And Hylissang is coming out of base, he has this information. Viteo is dead, and he's probably gonna be catching bot, so Karzi is catching mid. And he knows, if you look at the items, Yike doesn't have his first item, Ahri doesn't have her first item, and she's showing on the mid wave with 0 mana. And he sees Mickey X on top, and also Yike is on top side. So he knows the enemy team really needs a base. And because they made 2 plays now. They first made a play on mid, and now they try to make a play on top. And what he's going to do here, he's going to stop Caps from actually resetting and making sure that he's not able to get to bot lane fast enough to even match VTO. And this is huge for 2 reasons. first of all, like getting vision this far deep in without enemy team being able to contest you is already giving so much time for your teammates to be able to play the game. Because this deep vision is going to help Karzi to play aggressive on the mid waves. He now has Kraken, and they're going to be able to scout out enemy teams next play. And he knows that Caps really needs a base. He knows the entire team needs a base. So he's going to go here, and then he's going to actually do the Hylissang thing that everyone hates that's ever played against him. It's the most Hylissang thing ever. He would like flash on you, ignite you, just be annoying and stop your base. Basically slow down your tempo. And as we all know, tempo is extremely important, especially at a higher level, because when teams know how to abuse tempo, they're completely going to choke you out. And if one team gets tempo one time, they're going to continue holding that tempo and make sure that you're not able to make any plays. And this is just one of the few things. I'm sure a lot of supports already know how to do this in the LEC, like recognizing that the enemy team needs space and they go for deep vision. But you'd be surprised how many supports are kind of like DC'd in the brain, and they have no idea that they can actually go for deep vision when they can. And what other supports maybe in the ERLs, I think what they would do is like, oh, wait for Karzi to push mid and then we walk together. But Hylissang knows they have the base. So worst case, they overstay and they delay their base and their power spikes and they try to chase Hylissang. But he has Mercs, he's relatively safe. There's nothing that can really kill him except Viego. He's relatively safe, so he can go this deep and just be annoying. And now, because Hylissang did this, Ari actually has to TP bot instead of just walking there, which leads to them having TP advantage now, and they're able to just take these grubs for free. I doubt that they would even look to contest it anyways, because they were already so behind the tempo from doing those two plays on mid-top. But this is the kind of like space thing that Hylissang is talking about, or that Pat is talking about. So here, as they're doing like the Herald, Hylissang makes sure that the enemy team gets no space to actually even get close to look to contest. I don't think G2 was even looking to contest, and he forces out the Kalista ulti. This one was a little bit like overjealous. He tried to go, he thought he could get a kill, which is fine. But I want to take a look at exactly what Hylissang does now. So Veteo is the only pressure point of the map right now. They already have topside vision, which they put in earlier, and they see everyone around mid. So they know that the only way where they could actually look to punish is going to be around bot side. They're not going to look to play around the Zac versus Jace, who already has Eclipse. They're definitely not going to look to make any plays around Karzi, because he has Kraken and Kalista is still sitting on no item. So Hylissang is able to predict that the only play that they have is going to be around Orianna. And what he's going to do right now, as his team is actually looking to base, he's going to make sure that Viteo is able to push the next wave and still be able to pressure Ahri. So he's just running into enemy jungle, making sure that the enemy team, make sure his laners feel safe. He can spot them out, sees Yike. And he's just like marking the enemy team to make sure that there's no collapse on Viteo. Even though like his team is basing, or Karzi is basing, he's just hanging around, making sure that Viteo is not in any danger. He can play as he like, just like he did on the first roam to mid lane. And that's just one thing. But I think it gets more interesting the further the game go. And I think this is kind of one point as well. But I think it gets interesting right here. So, the information that Hylissang has, and Vitality, is that G2 decided to trade for the Herald. What does this mean? They first made a top lane play, they lost the mid turret, and now they're trading for Herald. This most likely means that they have full topside vision, and they have the base. And what Hylissang is going to do with this information, instead of actually waiting for Karzi to push mid and waiting for his jungler, getting topside vision, he's just going to sprint into enemy jungle. As he knows that they're most likely on a base timer and Ahris are on bot. So he's just going to skip a step and go instantly into enemy jungle and put down his vision and take their pings. And this is already putting so much pressure. Now, here we're looking at this and we have like full vision. So obviously here we're like, oh, well, that's not that impressive. They can't see. No, it is impressive. Like what the blue team is seeing, if I could change, if I had the VOD, I would show you it's just completely dark and Hylissang just pops up in your jungle. You have no idea if Douglas is behind him. You have no idea where anyone is. They do have deep vision. They should be able to realize that Douglas is probably not there. But Douglas could have also sneaked through mid and then gone behind them, right? So Hylissang, knowing that they based on after the Herald play, he's just going to sprint instantly into enemy jungle, and this buys them a lot of time. So now we already has the information. There's 3 around topside, and now that means that they're not contesting the next mid wave, so they can go for the next mid wave freely without being contested. And there is, I think they showed here like 1 second, right, with the blue side toggle. But this is what they see, right? They see a random Hylissang in the jungle, and it's extremely scary. And it's not many supports who are willing to do this. I think Promiscu was one of the supports who also loved to do this. He tended to get caught a little bit more, but he still had the right idea of like cheating tempo is kind of what it's called, where you know that the enemy team is base or they're on both sides, so you go and get full control on one other side. And what Hylissang is gonna do now, he's just gonna continue sitting in the jungle, continue putting pressure on the enemy team, making sure that they're very scared about entering topside, and now he knows he only has one ward, and the play is basically dead. There's nothing they can get, they can't really dive to Zac, so he's just gonna reset, but the enemy team has no idea that he's resetting. They do see that the card is resetting, but either way it doesn't matter. He comes out of base with fresh wards, and instantly he's already pulling the trigger, coming out of base, and making stuff happen basically. And now he just loves sitting on that bush. And now he's just gonna make a beeline. He realizes that there's no more top play, he has full topside vision. We will see if they try to do anything topside. So he instantly makes a beeline on bot side. Because he knows that Ahri is the only... Orianna is really the only target for the enemy team. I guess they could look for Jace. But Hylissang is constantly in your jungle, making it very difficult for you to feel that he might be setting up a play or whatever's happening. And this is putting a lot of pressure and making it very free for his carries and everyone else to play the game. I think VIT wouldn't have been able to play as aggressive as he'd like if he didn't have Hylissang continuously scouting for him and giving him the space in order to do so. Now the most interesting part, I think the one that Pad was really talking about, I mean we can take a look at this. I don't recall exactly what happened, but Hylissang already in the jungle. Where have Hylissang been all this time? He was first in bot side jungle, the enemy team is trying to match, and now he's in top side jungle. He's constantly making the enemy team react to him and constantly making them never be able to set up any of their play alone. Because they always have to react, because they don't know if Hylissang has like numbers behind them or if they're setting up a topside play. So they have to preemptively, continuously react to whatever Vitality is doing because of what Hylissang is doing. And this is putting a lot of pressure on the opponents. And it's very underrated. I think not many supports do this, and this is why Hylissang is my GOAT. One of the reasons. But anyways, we'll take a look at this one. I think this is the most interesting part, where people started questioning Hylissang or whatever. I mean, this is a bit risky, but I would say this is risky. This is just like a bit unnecessary. He didn't need to go there and get chunked. But either way, what he does afterwards is pretty cool to me. So G2 right now has gotten the space in the river. They TP to bot with Zac, and now they're able to play through bot side, and they have position of the bot side bush, so VTO can't really join. Now VTO throws his ball in there, and whatever, they try to push them out. But G2 really wants to continue holding the position. So Vitality, what they're going to do is first they're going to push mid and force someone to react to it, so they're going to have number advantage in the river. And now, as they know, they can assume that someone is probably looking to catch mid, and Hylissang is going to look instantly to look to engage on the opponent and force them out. And this is what he does. He instantly pulls the trigger, he knows that someone will be catching mid, and he's always looking for a fight that he knows will be good. Now there is a chance that maybe Hansama might stay here and then look to fight, right? But the most probability is that he's probably going to go mid and he's going to catch that mid wave. And Hylissang is aware of this. And he knows that they have a 5v4 number advantage, so whatever happens, even if he gets engaged on, he will at least force Ahri ulti, he will force maybe Leona ulti, whatever, and instantly use this moment to push them out of the river. And now they know that Kalista is mid, so they know that they're probably not contesting this. But as you see, G2 are still, they're a very good team, right? So they're always going to try to fake contest and just make you sweat and make it hard for you to just get the objective for free. So now they peace out. Now this was the questionable play that Hylissang did. But right now he's probably not aware that they have a ward in the river and in the tribush. I think he should know that the tribush is warded, and he probably could have swept it. So this is kind of, I can agree with the casters that this is kind of like int, because his laners are going back to lanes and VTO wants to catch bot. So this is like, it doesn't really make sense what they're doing here. So this was like the only questionable play for me. But then after this, Hylissang is just gonna continue his dominance and just sprint into enemy jungle, make them feel the pressure. Even look where Douglas is and look what Hylissang is doing. He's always gonna be in the opponent's face, make them question themselves, like is Hylissang actually inting or does he have people behind them? And they're always gonna hesitate. And that second of hesitation is gonna give them space in order to get deeper vision and push G2 further back. So even though like G2 are just 1k behind, I'm sure with the way Hylissang is playing, they're probably feeling like they're, I don't know, 5k behind because of how aggressive Hylissang is playing. And here you can see Hylissang is here. You would ask, oh, why is he here? I mean, Card is mid. No. He is just scouting the opponent, so Photon can play, Oriana can play, they know that Yike is here, they know that Mickey X is here, so there's no potential play on Viteo. I mean, even though there probably wouldn't be anyways, he's too far away. But Photon can actually safely push the top wave now, seeing them two here. And he's just gonna continue marking the opponents. He's extremely good at this. And just making it hard for them. And here's just gonna sprint, and basically what he's doing is just skill checking the enemy, asking them, hey, are you gonna let me to just walk behind your turret, or are you gonna engage on me? And eventually G2 is just gonna go try it. Doesn't work out, and now they've blown both the Leona E and they've blown the RE Charm. So now the dive is possible. But this is only possible because of Hylissang forcing out spells, and this is something that he does extremely well even before teamfights. He likes to force the opponents to use spells on him, so his AD carry or his carries in general are able to walk up and make, freely, and they can actually hit. But if, let's say, if they try to do this dive, Ari still has Charm, Mickey X has E, they have everything, it's a lot harder, right? Maybe not, but... Get my point, and Hylissang just pulls the trigger, and he's walking up very aggressively. He's constantly forcing the opponents to deal with him, or give space. He's giving them two options, like either you kill me for inting, not really inting, either you punish me and you look to fight us, despite us being stronger. He knows that any fight that they take at this point, they will certainly win, because of item disadvantages, or they just give the space and give the vision, and basically get choked out. So this is the question that Hylissang is continuously asking the opponents. What do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to actually fight me or give up the space and give up the full control? And eventually the opponent just has no choice and they have to look for engage. And a lot of times it turns out in their favor. But the pressure that Hylissang is putting on the enemy team continuously, already from, 10 minutes, when we saw him starting putting deep wards, is one of the key reasons why Vitality are so good. And makes it like a very difficult team to play against. Now, does Hylissang have his int moments? Of course he does. Every support does. But his risk and reward, how he plays, I think is completely worth it, and he's actually making support role look extremely OP. He knows that he's just a scout. He's just there to force out opponents' summoners and make them basically make it easier for his carries to play. If he's able to force maybe Leona ulti on top of him, Ari Charm, and Yike W, Viego W, or Zac Jump, whatever it is, every spell that they use makes it easier for his carries to walk up and play aggressively. So that's the way Hylissang sees the game, and he doesn't see it as like, oh no, I'm gonna die. No, they're using spells on me. Okay, they use Leona ulti and Ari ulti. Okay, guys, you can contest the Drake. They have nothing. And then he knows that they can walk up freely and the carries can actually go hit. So the space that he's actually building for his carries continuously is what makes the teamfights look so easy. Let's take a look at this. Just for example. Maybe this is not the best example, but I want to just show it just so you understand. So Hylissang here, he knows that Viteo is not close enough to fight. Jace is all the far way back, and also Xayah, right? So look what he's gonna do. Once Ari uses the Charm, Viteo knows it is free to walk forward. There's nothing that can one-shot me, nothing that can CC lock me, and he just walks completely forward. And this is kind of like the key of teamfights in general as well. If Hylissang is able to force out spells, important spells that they need to kill their carries, that is already a huge win and gives the space for his carries to walk forward. And that is one of the most underrated things that Hylissang does, and that is why I think this guy is one of the greatest that we have ever had in EU. So, stop hating on Hylissang. He's my GOAT. He should be your GOAT too. This guy's proven it time and time over again. But yeah, I hope this video was somewhat insightful and you enjoyed it. Have a nice day. See you soon.